Alright, so I'm just getting back from a transfer station, ran a few stops, and was going to pick up where I left off, and I forgot where it was. I think I was just starting to get a little bit more in detail about tipping or running the side load arm. And really, I think at this point in time, a lot of people have experience or a little bit of experience in playing a video game or learning a video game. And running this joystick is not much different than learning a new game, independent on whatever genre of video games you got into. And if you never played video games, then I don't know. I'm sure you've had something that required a tactile input through a machine of some sort. So I'm kind of operating on the assumption that everyone's had to learn how to operate something before. The one thing to know is this truck in Trash Body, the new way, has a variable input in the joystick. And by that, I mean when you put the joystick out, if you go a little bit out, like 10%, then you get 10% response. If you go 100%, you get 100% response. Now, a lot of guys in the industry will say, like, oh, they either love or they love the new way, or they don't love the new way because of the speed. I've operated arms that seem to go a little bit faster, but the controls are 100% on or 100% off. So as soon as you touch the joystick, you get a 100% input to the arm, and it surprises a lot of guys. So if I was training someone new, I'd almost say, hey, let's train you on the new way, because if you're hesitant or you're kind of moving slow, you won't get that rocking, shaking motion that you'd get on the other truck we have, which is a Bridgeport on a Kenworth. The Bridgeport, Mitchell, who's the other guy that's been in the podcast, he'll say he kind of likes the Bridgeport because it just feels faster. You're just ba-bang, 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 ba-bang. Check this out. I would not want a new guy to necessarily try this. This is what I was talking about, where I got to crank my head around, because I'm looking at those hydraulic hoses mounted over here. They're a little bit harder to see from the mirror perspective. I'm going to put it back up there, not all the way, but out of the street at least. So anyway, Mitchell is saying he kind of enjoys the 100% action when you have a row of carts that are correctly placed. And I give Bridgeport a little bit of slack in that when they designed the truck, they're like, well, why are you guys trying to grab trash outside the carts, or why are you messing with Jenga traps kind of like this? Like, the Bridgeport could probably tip this, but the finesse that the new way has in the joystick makes it possible to like slowly approach the carts and then slowly give it the initial lift before you kind of give it 100% commitment and to what I can do, the full send, where you pull back on the joystick with maximum effort, and a little bit of that G-force of it rising up can keep the trash on the cart or in the cart if it's a Jenga. Jenga being trash that is like precariously stacked on the cart, where if you shake it too hard, it falls apart and creates a mess. And then the debate is well, is that my mess or their mess? Because technically we ask people to put trash in the cart and close the lid, and then they create these little Jenga traps. That box right there, they ain't gonna be a problem with this truck. We'll be able to get that no problem. And I'm gonna jinx myself saying that, but I'll show you. Alright, this is a little silly. I have to back out. That's a dead-end street down there, so I have to back out and then back in. There's scenarios where if it's a lot of backing up, then I'll just walk a can across the street, tip it, put it back. But since it's a short approach, I don't have a problem backing out and backing in. So anyway, I'm doing full action on the joystick at this point, so that's the full speed. Some trucks are a little bit faster, or some trash bodies are a little faster. But if I noticed, like, you can get this truck to cycle 200 times an hour if everything's kind of correctly placed. But I don't know. I got into the industry using stuff from McNeilius and Bridgeport. Sometimes this guy right here, he's not outside. Sometimes he's outside, and I'll tip this one out of sequence just so you can put it out earlier or put it away. Otherwise, I don't have it routed here. I just do this out of courtesy. He's a cool dude. Got a friendly wave. My metric for someone to be a cool dude is someone that just waves or gives a thumbs up as if like, hey, thanks. That's it. That's all it takes to be on my cool people list. It's like, hey man, thanks. You bet. That's it. Anyway, he'll be able to put that can away early. But of all the different trash trucks that I've driven, I kind of grew into enjoying the New Way because of its finesse or its control. And if you're training, yeah, I think there's a lot of forgiveness in a New Way design where you have that variable input. I'm not aware of all the trash bodies out there that have variable inputs, or like kind of a variable control. But if you got one that does, there's definitely some pros to it, or advantages. And it's softer. Like you're not gonna design a truck that has zero shaking of the body. You know, like if you shake it real hard, the driver's in the seat just rocking back and forth or side to side. It's gonna be hard to design a truck that doesn't have that. We're talking about thousands of pounds of steel lifting and going out and going in. Yeah, maybe it's not thousands of pounds. It's heavy though. And hydraulic force, you know, behind the momentum. You're not gonna design something that is perfectly smooth all the time. But the New Way is certainly softer and smoother than a lot of other trucks I've used. There's a bunch of trash not out on this street. There's an every other week stops on this stretch, so you're not going to see too many carts out. Alright, so this card here is backwards. Depending on what kind of place you're learning or training or employed at, some might tell you to skip them. We don't. You can put the fingers a little bit to the... There you go. I mean, it's hard to say it as I do it, but you saw what I did there. This one was put on the concrete, so it's easier to get them to twist. If it was in the grass, it's harder to do that. If you tip it backwards, then you gotta worry about banging the lid on something or breaking it. But it's not the worst thing to have to face on a route. We're approaching that, we're gonna be getting close to that one box I said we're gonna have no problems with. Oh man, tired. That's another thing to consider. We start at 5 o'clock. I got my alarm set pretty early so I could commute into work. So if you become a trash man, just get acclimated with having hours that are a little non-traditional, maybe a little sleep deprived. And the first 3 months that you are learning the truck and the route, that's going to be the hardest. Because you're learning the tablet, you're learning the truck, you're learning the route, and you're doing it all on kind of adjusting your sleep schedule. So get comfortable taking naps. Not necessarily on route, but after work. Because you're going to be stressed out. You're not going to know why you're so tired. It's because you're learning a lot. And I wouldn't let anybody stress you out on not being as fast as the person you're replacing if you're replacing a previous driver. Okay, so I'm turning the grip override on, so it will not squeeze as I go up. And I'm going to check the hopper. Yep, the hopper is clear. As long as he doesn't have the... There we go. If I was having struggle to grab this box, what I would do is I'd turn it so it's like a diamond instead of a square. And then I'd squeeze it at the corners instead. Alright, so give it a minute to kind of crush that down. If you want to get fancy, there's a hopper cover that you can give it a little extra compaction. Don't necessarily have to in this instance, but I'm doing it for demonstration purposes. This truck is set up where you cannot cycle this arm while that cover is down. There's some older model trucks where you could forget that your hopper cover is down and you could dump trash on top of it, and that's a problem. And you kind of have to shut things down and get up there and clean it out. This has a safety feature that doesn't allow that. As I was saying, the first 3 months are going to be the hardest, where not only are you getting up early, but you're more stressed out through the day. And you're going to think, well, all I had to do is run a joystick. I shouldn't be tired. But I don't know. You ever drive down the interstate for 10 hours, and then at the end of the day, you're like, man, all I did was drive. Why am I exhausted? Now you couple that in with looking at, we got routes that are 700 stops, trying to find 700 locations and put in some sort of input, whether it's out or not out, or they had extra. There's a lot going on. You're making a lot of decisions. I mean, that doesn't even address the issue of all of those little micro moments that are just being sort of automatically calculated. Like, your brain's doing a lot of work navigating streets and going around obstacles, and it's a big truck on residential streets and all the variable conditions and traffic. Like, the thing about garbage is you're always engaged. Like, there's going to be some jobs that have slow periods. Like, you might have an office job where maybe the boss goes out of the building for a little bit, and people kind of just turn it down a little bit. It's like, we really don't have to be functioning at a 10 all the time. Let's just chill back. And maybe you open up a browser on your window or on your computer and, I don't know, browse some Instagram or whatever you do, some YouTube videos. I don't know. I don't know what people do to pass time in the office. When you're kind of looking at something and you're like, I don't want to do this. So you kind of kill time. I'll get caught in that loop when I'm trying to edit these videos for work. I'll be at the editing bay and I'll just look at the screen and be like, I don't want to do this. But I'll sit there and then I'll just tinker around with some other stuff or get distracted. You can't do that in a garbage truck. You're 100% engaged 100% of the time. So you're given you're given your full mental focus the entire time you're operating the truck, right? And as soon as you stop operating the truck, your route is not getting finished. So you start like hyper focusing on, oh man, if I, kill time here, then it's going to put me so much more behind schedule. And I kind of hit the camera. So if you try to do, like, if you get bored while en route, and you could be like, I'm just going to go stop and not do this for a little bit, your route is still incomplete. Whereas with the office job, if you're like composing an email and you're like, I really don't want to write this email, and you postpone for a little bit, at the end of the day, if it's not composed, it might not be the end of the world. Like, no one's really going to call you, be like, hey, did you get that email sent out? Or whatever it is. I got behind, XYZ happened and I didn't get to it. I don't know. I don't know how it exactly works. But at the end of the day, with a garbage truck, you have to have your stops ran. It's got to be done. And, yeah, you kind of feel that stress. Boy, it's a big hug. Oh, did I turn on my... Yeah, I did. Okay. That was almost an error. I kind of hesitated at the top. What was I saying? Oh yeah, having to be engaged all the time. Like, there's a guy in the comments saying he got kind of tired of healthcare industry. It's burning him out. He's like, man, how do I become a garbage man? And I kind of explained how to do it. But the thing to consider, like, I don't know exactly how it works in a hospital, but there might be times where, the patients are, they're all caught up, or you did your rounds. For the most part, you're chilling in a nursing station and nothing's really happening. And you can kind of like lay back. You can chill, take a breath. Garbage, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of chilling out right now. Nope. With garbage, I'm kind of chilling out right now. But at the same time, I definitely have an impulse or desire to, like, just take a nap. I didn't sleep as well. So, I don't know. I really hate to end the video on that one, but this is as good a spot as any to take the camera down. And the next location I go to is a neighborhood on gravel roads. It gets dusty. But, wow. Can you tell? I'm starting to feel a little bit of that burn. We're getting closer to noon, but I've been up for 8 hours already. And all I've done is drive. So, anyway, we'll put it away and then I'll speed through the rest of the route. And I don't know, that's a good introductory level to running an automated truck. Got to turn the monitor to you. But I don't know, you saw the hopper. That makes sense. Cool.